What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show here on an eventful Friday. Earlier today, we got that, normal Friday news dump, and that was the Portland Trail Blazers finally making a trade. And quite frankly, it was a terrible trade. We gave our reaction to that on a live stream that went about, I don't know how long that went, Eric, like three and a half hours. Yeah, so we've already streamed for 3.5 hours today. You've streamed for more like 4 hours today. So, we're doing double duty here. It's going to be like 6 hours of streaming today, but we have a post-game show now. We are going to discuss this trade a little bit more. We'll open up the Twitter space and talk to some of you guys and get some of your guys' thoughts, especially those of who weren't able to call in on the previous space. But we got a game to talk about, and you know what we do. We just kind of plug away with these post-game streams that are going to feel even more different now that the Blazers have made it pretty obvious that they are tanking the season, Eric. And the Blazers did their job tonight. They end up losing to the Oklahoma City Thunder for the second time in 3 games. 96-93. This was a game at home. The Thunder playing without SGA, and the Blazers found a way to lose. Tony Snell got the start tonight. CJ Ellaby got the start tonight. Greg Brown got some minutes, and he got himself a poster, which was pretty cool. Trent Watford has a good game off the bench. So those are the storylines we're going to be focusing on for the rest of the season as this team tanks its way to Tankville. Anyway, what's going on, Eric?
Yeah, now Snell decides to have a decent game.
Yeah, dude, I hate Tony Snell.
If we would have lost this game or won this game because Tony Snell went off and he had his best game of the season just to beat the Thunder on a night we're clearly trying to give up on the season, I would have been so mad.
Yeah.
That would have been so ironic, but I would have just laughed, but yeah. Full disclosure, I had a work emergency come up and I had to go in and didn't watch the first half. Managed to catch the second half, saw Nurk dominating, and then looked at his stats and it said 6 of 13 at that point, and then he went on to miss all the rest of his shots in the game. So I was like, wait a minute, Nurk's playing good, and everyone's like, oh, Nurk sucks or whatever, and I'm like, oops, yeah, must have not been a good first half, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how his game goes. Either a good first half, bad second half, or vice versa. Shout out to Hyper Prime member for 3 months. Says, y'all are goats. The Blazers post-show goats. Appreciate you, Hyper Prime. Thank you for being a member and for your member message. This was just a weird game, Eric, because this is the first time I can ever remember truly rooting against the Portland Trail Blazers. And that's just weird, man. I wasn't fully to the point where I was like, yeah, I'd lose, miss this shot. Hopefully the other team makes this shot. I wasn't fully to that point until today. With this trade fully pushed me over the edge. Now, I'm fully, I've said that, now I'm fully embracing the tank. This was the first day that I felt it. And it's I wanted guys to play well, Simons to play well. I kind of wanted him to make that shot to send it into overtime and then this team to lose in overtime, because that would at least just been a fun moment for him. And it was an exciting game and a close game. It's so weird never being in this position before as a Blazer fan to be rooting for your team to lose a game, because after that trade today, the only thing saving this team is a top 3 overall pick, and that's basically the only thing that can salvage this mess of a season.
Yeah, so, watching the fourth quarter, we get down by 7 with 3 minutes left, and neither team can score for the rest of the game until, of course, we had to make it interesting at the end and give ourselves a chance. So I'm not gonna actively root for shots to not go in or whatever, but at the same time I'm like don't come back, please. So yeah, it's weird. I'm not saying lose, miss every shot, don't score, don't do this, don't do that. But then at the same time I'm Mike Muscala hits a couple threes and puts them up 6, and you're like, oh, okay. That's fine. It's kind of indifference for me right now. But I do want to see all the young players play and play well. So it was cool that some of them got extended minutes tonight with no real options on the bench.
Yeah, Greg Brown had some good moments. He still needs to learn how to make a three. Same thing for Trendon Watford, and he still needs to learn how to make a three. I'm just going to look at the box score. I don't know if Chris is doing graphics tonight. Did he go to the game?
I don't know. I'm not aware of Chris's whereabouts this evening.
Or is he just really upset that we traded Norman Powell? Because I wouldn't blame him either way.
He's like a Keon Johnson stand now.
I mean, that's fine. If that's what he wants to be, that's fine. But yeah, if you want a reaction to that trade, we'll talk about it a little bit tonight. But that 3.5 hour stream is what's going to do it for you. Yeah, I don't even know. This game is so, like, secondary to what happened today. It's so secondary. But I guess I'll ask you, like, who were you pleased with in terms of their play today? Was there anyone, like...
I don't know what Wofford's final numbers are, but I thought he had some good minutes.
He was 4 for 5 from the field in 20 minutes, had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and a steal.
Ellaby wasn't really pissing me off when he was in there. So I guess
he was a plus 11.
That was good. And had some nice passes, but no one could make a shot, so it didn't really matter. The defense was bad considering the opponents. Like I said, I saw Nurk have several finishes inside, and like he had scored like 6 points in a row, and then I look at his box score and it's like, oh man. Other than that, Brown, it was cool to see him play a little bit. And how about the stare down? Mike was falling after the dunk, like
after he kneed him in the nuts. Yeah,
that was kind of uncharacteristic of him, but still a cool dunk. I mean, I gotta be honest with you guys. Today broke my spirit, man. It absolutely broke me. It's hard to get too excited about anyone other than the 4 young guys that played tonight. And I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm just.
I feel you. Yeah.
I'm just I don't know. It's gonna take a lot for me to get out of this funk. Got no Dame to look forward to now. Hopefully he's back next season and killing it. Hopefully we get lucky in the lottery. Other than that, what do we really have to look forward to this season? It's kind of blah now. Hopefully Keon Johnson can come in and be like an all-NBA type player or something. I don't know.
Yeah, shout out to Cole for a $5 dono. Says, other teams thinking that their management and GM sucks. Cronin says, hold my beer. Yup. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't want to go too deep on the trade talk, man, but that just is like a big dark cloud that I feel hanging over this live stream right now. So yeah, we can talk about it a little bit later. We can get to the Twitter space, and I'm sure a few of you guys still want to rant about it. I don't have Chris I think went to the game today, so I don't have any like team stats or whatnot, but where do you want to go with this, Eric? I'll kind of leave it up to you. Where do you want to go with this? Talking about this freaking basketball game.
If you're talking about tanking, maybe we should just go right to Tankathon and see what this did for our numbers.
Let's do it. Absolutely. Some positivity.
Let's simulate until the Blazers get.
Okay, I'm down. I'm absolutely down. I'm absolutely down. Let's go to Around the NBA, all right, because this is where I have the Tankathon slide. And then let's go to Tankathon. We're still in 9th place. As bad as everything is, we're still only in 9th place. But OKC's in 4th. We're only 3 games out of 4th, Eric. Nice. So right now we would have a 20% chance at the top 4 and a 4.5% chance of the number 1 overall pick. If we made it all the way up to 4th, that goes from 20% to 48% chance of top 4 and a 4.5 to 12.5% chance of number 1. So lots of ground to be made up here in the tank race. We could have helped New Orleans by trading them Norman Powell for a 1st round pick, maybe a 2nd round pick, and getting nothing back, but we decided not to do that. we decided to help the Clippers instead, but they're all the way down here in 15th place. So, New Orleans still should be able to pass us. I expect us to be closer to the top of this range, but let's just simulate the lottery, Eric. Well, we get screwed.
When they make that trade for Eric Gordon instead, they'll be...
Yeah. Then people will realize...
Good job we tanked for that 10th pick, right?
Well, let's do it again. We're 9th. Let's do it again. We're 9th. Let's do it again. Oh, we can't, Eric. It's not in the cards, man. We're just destined to be screwed as Blazer fans. That's what this is. 9th, freaking 9th. Oh, we got 3rd. Okay, third, yay, phenomenal.
We got Chet maybe.
I'm not leaving. Oh, there you go, Eric. Whoop-de-doo. We get to draft the next Greg Oden. Honestly, I like the top 3 guys in this draft. If you could get one of those 3, I'm down. That would be fun. That would be some hope going forward. But, it's tough. It's tough. These odds are not 20% odds at top 4 and 4.5% odds at number 1. It's not good enough. So that's why I was rooting for the team to lose today. I saw somebody in chat say, oh, that's messed up to root for your team to lose, but I want this team to win in the long term, and they're obviously not going to win this year, so if losing this year helps them win next year, then I'm absolutely down for that. Might as well win one of these years, right?
Well, to make things, just to put the final, death blow to my heart, here's what's going to happen. We're going to be bad enough to move up to, 6th or something. Mm-hmm. And then the 9th place team's going to move up, and we're going to move down 2 spots to 8th or something like that. You know what I mean? After we tried all season to get better odds, and then the spot we would have been in had we just not done anything is going to move up, and then maybe another team behind us as well, and then we'll fall 2 spots and we'll have tanked for nothing and gotten... Yeah, that's... As a Blazer fan, that's probably what's going to happen. Or, like you said, we draft whatever player is about to get injured and never really have a full career. And, yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Shotnews012, 18-month channel member, has a member message for his month. Says, with our luck, we will get the 4th pick and draft Jaden Ivey. That's going to be our guard rotation next year. Eric Dame, Ant, Keon Johnson, Jaden Ivey, Dennis Smith Jr., maybe Eric Bledsoe comes back. Phenomenal guard rotation, in my opinion. Thank you, Near012, for the member.
Oh, we'll still have CJ maybe, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, CJ's the 3 next year.
Oh, yeah, he's our starting.
They didn't think Norm was good enough at the 3. They wanted to put CJ at the 3.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway... Priest, I don't know what you mean by that message. But yeah, so, now where do you want to go with this, Eric?
Well, does anyone have any insightful things? Yeah, I guess we don't have team stats, but Blazer shot a whopping 18% from 3.
Oh, we do have team stats. Chris showed up. Okay, cool. What's up, Chris? Get your bag, man. Hey, keep going. I'll put the team stats in a second.
Yeah, 18% from 3 from us. I think we made 6 threes in a game. Just sad.
Yeah, with Greg Brown out there and
we did have Ant, CJ, and McLemore though. That we should be shooting better than 6 of 33.
Except, do you see what McLemore shot?
Yep, sure did.
Terrible. For the second night in a row, right? Rocco left, so he has to keep up the 0-for streak, right? Anyway, we're not going to be talking about Rocco's trade value anymore. I guess that's a good thing? I don't know. Obviously, apparently he had none. But here are the team stats. 40% from the field and 18% from 3. OKC, 38% from the field and 36% from 3. This was a true tank game, Eric, and we were the best tank. We were the strongest tank.
You know what, Tori? When you're not hitting your 3-point shots, when the jumper's not falling, what should you do? Be aggressive and get to the line, right? So impressive that we got there a whopping 10 times. Good job, Blazers. That's just great.
They get there twice as much.
You can't hit a 3 and you only get to the free throw line 10 times. Maybe stop shooting 3s and get to the line, people.
Yep, agreed. 18 offensive rebounds for Portland, 13 for OKC. So with all those bricks, we were able to rebound some of them, but didn't really translate into anything except for more bricks. 18 assists to 24. Turnovers were pretty even. Points, Eric, points in the paint, 58-28.
Yeah, we dominated.
What a stat there. I mean, we made...
How do we score 58 points in the paint and only get 10 free throws? That's like, we're avoiding contact.
Well, we made 7 more field goals than them, and we lost. That's impressive. That's actually extremely, extremely impressive. Largest lead for us was 10. Largest lead for them was 7. There was a point in this game where I thought maybe Portland was just going to like kind of take care of things and they weren't going to tank this hard, but they impress us tonight.
When I started watching, we went up 10 towards the beginning of the third quarter.
Did you stop watching?
No. OKC
to
kept
to lose.
OKC kept bricking. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the team stats. It's going to be ugly for the rest of the season, most likely. Shout out to Cole Slauson.
Cole Slauson. We have a new Cole? Is this a different? This is a different Cole.
We can use as many Coles as we
Cole
need.
Army.
I'm down for a Cole Army. He has a $5 dono. Appreciate it. Says, the trade today ruined me. I was at work and it did me in for the day. This is my emotional support group now. Thank you guys. Thank you, Cole, for your dono. I'm glad we can be your emotional support group. And you guys are our emotional support group.
Thank you all for being there for us to vent and for actually wanting to hear what we have to say and all that stuff. We appreciate all of you. This has nothing to do with any of you. You guys are great. Even the people who disagree with us, it's just, I'm not disappointed in any of you or bummed out with any of you. I'm happy to have you here. And my wife made a big ordeal about how could I stream for like 4 hours today.
What'd you tell her?
When obviously didn't really get to the point where it really mattered what I said at that point. So unfortunately, there's no real way to explain the gravity of how miserable this day was and how I needed to vent to people, despite doing, a show yesterday afternoon and the night before the post-game show. And then, we had this post-game show tonight. We have another game tomorrow. So she's a little concerned about my level of interest in this particular venture. But it's kind of hard to explain how I needed you guys to help get me through this afternoon because I was in a pretty dark place.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, so that first stream, it was anger. I was so angry the entire stream. Now it's depression. Yeah. Now we're at that stage of grief. Is depression normally supposed to come after anger? Or, what's the... I've asked this. I need to, have a graphic. Just the cycle of grief. I mean, we're all Blazer fans. This is a Blazer channel, so it would make sense to have the cycle of grief graphic ready. But I do not. So, grief cycle. Let me Google this. Am I going, backwards in this? I might be going backwards. So it goes denial, right? Anger... Okay, so when I saw the trade, I didn't believe it, and I know a lot of you guys that I talked to didn't believe it.
I instantly went to the page to make sure it was actually Woj's account. Look for the check mark. Yeah, reread the tweet. Didn't see Roko's name for 15 minutes, and then I reread it again later and saw Roko, and I was like, oh my god.
Yep.
So I was in denial at first too. Maybe this is a fake one.
Oh, I wish. But second cycle is anger. That was the stream today, Eric.
Yeah.
That was the anger. Third cycle is depression. I am there now, and I feel like I might be here until the trade deadline is over. The fourth cycle is bargaining. Struggling to find meaning, reaching out to others, and telling one story. That is the next stage. And then fifth is acceptance, exploring options, new plan in place, moving on. So, I don't know, is the acceptance, I would guess, would be the off-season? I feel like we're going to be in the depression part for a while, because I agree with you. You said earlier it kind of zapped your spirit, and it zapped mine too, man. We put all this time together thinking up options, and, the team definitely had some of those options on the table, potentially, and they didn't want them for whatever reason, and they took this crap and, broke my spirit. Shout out to Nolan Marshall 5 Canadian, I almost said Californian dollar, which isn't a thing. Maybe it will be in the future. I don't know.
California has their own currency now.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if they secede. But Nolan Marshall, 5 Canadian dollar dono, says, Raptors fan here. Sorry to see your team in disarray. Welcoming Norm with open arms just to let him go for Keon Johnson. WTF is your ownership. Appreciate it, Nolan. If only you knew, man. It's tough. Yeah. It's a mess. We are becoming the new Kings, Eric.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah. Appreciate the dono, Nolan.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, congratulations on getting Gary Trent for us not getting anything back for him now. So.
Yep. And then Austin Irwin, 5. What's the currency, Eric?
Is that pounds or something? I don't know.
I think it's a 5 pound dono. Sorry if we messed up your currency, Austin. But you donoed $5 or 5 of something, so we appreciate it nonetheless. It says, hang tough, everyone. Thanks for all the content. Eric and Tori, listen often. Glad to see you in a live stream, man. Thank you for the support. We got a 4-month channel member message from Connor. Says the depression stage gonna last a long time. A very long time, man. Yep.
Thank you, Nolan. Thank you, Austin, and thanks, Connor, and everyone else who's been contributing. The Coles.
Yep. Thank you to Chris Brandlin for becoming a starter level member. Appreciate it, Chris. Yeah. So we got graphics. We're not onto the player cards yet. I kind of just want to get to those and start talking about the individual players from this game. I don't want to talk too much about that. Yeah, this is going to be like the most disjointed post-game stream of the year. Guaranteed. It's already kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
But we will try our best.
So a question that's coming up a lot. What do you think the odds are that CJ is traded at this point?
95%.
That he's traded?
Yes.
Mm.
Maybe that's a little too high, but... What do you think, Eric?
I honestly have to question if our front office even knows what the heck they're doing at this point, so I'm going to say 50-50. That 50% chance that they are going to build around Dame, CJ, and Nurk. 50% chance that this whole thing is just going to implode and we're going to end up trading everyone and nothing matters.
My prediction right now is CJ McCollum to the Cavs for Shetty Osman and Ricky Rubio, and that's it. That's my prediction. We throw in like Ben McLemore or something. That's the trade to expect if we trade CJ.
Not CJ for Kevin Love?
This organization would do that. That would be the trade, man. Just to feel good story, bring Kevin Love back home. He goes from one rebuilding team. They finally get good enough to make the playoffs, but then before he can see the playoffs, he gets traded to another rebuilding team that is about to break their 8-year playoff streak. That would be unfortunate for Kevin Love, man. But he could, he has Larry Nance Jr. here, right? So could be worse, right? That's his friend, that's his buddy. So, yeah.
Oh no, we'd trade him elsewhere, so they wouldn't get to play together.
Yep. Honestly, as far as trade ideas go, I'm done with trade ideas. I'm done with like I don't blame you guys for trying to think up follow-up moves, but at this point I can't even like come up with anything because it's like I came up with a lot of good options for this team in my opinion, and I think the options were good for other teams as well, and Portland said no for this package. So yeah.
Tori, let me just say, I heard a rumor of an offer that was, or a trade scenario with CJ that was close to happening, and let's just say you're not very far off.
Yep. We got, yeah. Do you have any more details on that, or does that have to stay confidential?
No, that's as much as I'm going to do. But yeah, it was for 2 players like that, like straight up, no picks involved.
Why didn't it happen?
We backed out. Yep.
But the fact that we were close.
Mm.
I mean, guys, we're not. There isn't a good let me just say this: there isn't a good follow-up move. I would be shocked if there was a good follow-up move. I would be absolutely shocked. I don't like. I tell you guys this because I don't want you to get your hopes up again and then have them dashed again. Okay, I. That's all I'm gonna say. Is I would absolutely not expect a good follow up move from this. Expect the worst. Expect the worst. Is there anything you want to add to that, Eric?
Yeah. All these people saying, "Oh, don't worry, this is step one of two or three. There's going to be a follow-up move. Wait to see what happened." All that is just BS coming from the front office right now, or people trying to justify why a team would make such a stupid move. And it's all BS from what I'm hearing. It's all BS. Like, this team doesn't know what they're doing. They have no plan. They're completely disorganized. They made a trade today that made no sense, and now everyone's confused on what they're going to do from here now. There was no step two to this plan. Now maybe they get lucky and some team, like I said, bails them out of this by taking on an Eric Bledsoe or doing something stupid, but there is no plan, and that's why I'm just broken. It's that they don't have any idea what's going on. And Cronin, we need to get him the heck out of there. But the problem is he's not going anywhere because he made a trade today that pleased the ownership because it saved her from having to pay the tax and gets her a big payment at the end of the year from the teams that are in another who are all in the tax right now, and that's a huge payment this year. I think according to, I think it was Bobby Marks said it was like 19 to 21 million the Clippers added to their tax bill by this trade today. And that gets split up between all the teams that are not in the tax. So he saved her a lot of money, so he's not going anywhere. He did exactly what she wanted. And it's just yeah.
Yep.
It's frustrating, man.
Yep. And I forgot what I was going to say. I read a comment.
Yeah. So Andy says Cronin said there was more opportunities for the coming week and beyond. But I mean, they still have tradable pieces. They still have some guys they can move. But like I said, they didn't do this trade because it set up another move or their plan was coming together and they needed these kind of pieces or this kind of move to happen first before they could pull off the other moves. This was just a random trade that made no sense and it doesn't fit with any of the plans that they were planning on going through, and it's frustrating.
And they had better offers on the table. That's the part that frustrates me.
Yeah, and don't let anyone tell you that Norm, like all these national media people that said that we did a good job to get out of Norm's negative contract. I mean, we had multiple, at least a handful of offers that were better than this one, and we had let's just say a crapload of teams have called about both Rocco and Norm, and it makes no sense that we would accept this offer versus all the stuff that we've been talking about for weeks with other teams. So they both had value in trades. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
Yep. And you don't have to believe us. If you don't want to believe us, you don't have to believe us. That's completely fine. But we have no reason to make anything up. It doesn't benefit us in any way. This is the truth. And it's why some things have to be questioned at this point. You guys know that I've never been one to say, oh, we for sure need new ownership. A lot of people have been on that bandwagon, but I've never been one of those people. But we need new ownership as fast as possible. As soon as possible. And it's not like she ducked the tax, which I understand, but we need new ownership.
For those of you that watched the stream earlier, you remember when Tori took that phone call and he came back with some Microsoft conspiracy between Ballmer and the Allens and all that kind of stuff, and I poo-pooed that and was like, no, that's crazy talk, like that wouldn't happen. Well, let me just say, did some research, did some digging between that stream and now, and I can confirm that there are legit, like, actual people that believe that's what happened. So, and this is separate from Tori's source as well, so there are people that believe that's the only thing that makes sense, is that this was some sort of conspiracy thing. So as much as I said that would not happen, I at this point I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I
They
mean,
don't use the tax payment money on anything. They just get that money towards their books or towards a check to Jody for all. I don't know.
if you say so, Kyle, if you say so, you don't have to believe us. But yeah, I mean, this trade makes no sense. I tried to tell you guys, and there's people arguing for it, and it's just this trade on a surface level doesn't make sense. You dig deeper, and it makes even less sense. And that's why it was so frustrating, because there is no logical basis to make this trade. There is none. And you can disagree with us, but like me and Eric have studied the CBA, and I know this is like gassing ourselves up or whatever, and some people have a problem with that, whatever, that's fine. We've studied the CBA, we've studied trades, we've studied deals for years. Okay? This made absolutely zero sense. This made no sense at the time. It makes less sense now. And I would also question that, there was somebody that said that Dame was on board with this. I'd also question that too. Don't take that necessarily for a fact. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah. I mean, they could do a follow-up move that maybe looks great and all, but it doesn't sound like they actually have a plan. It doesn't sound like this was part of a plan. And this does not make a follow-up move any easier. That's what didn't make sense about this deal. This doesn't make anything any easier. And they had offers out there that would have made it easier for them to pivot in another direction somewhere else by incorporating them in a 3-team trade. And they gave up that chance 6 days before the trade deadline for a package that, at best, could be described as desperation. Okay? This is really, really bad. Like, worse than I thought. It's not good. It's not good. So you can think it's a good trade. Like, if you want to be positive about it and be hopeful, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, me and Eric were super hopeful going into the season. Eric, we were actually described as being too positive. Remember that? Remember those good old days?
Yep.
When we were too positive. Now it's
no. All like the first 2 years were too negative, and even after wins are too negative. Then all this year we've been too positive, and now
too negative.
Now we're negative again. We just keep it real. Take it for what it's worth. But yeah, so for those wondering, the conspiracy is that Jody did a favor to Ballmer as some sort of Microsoft connection or friendship or something. Tori got a phone call in the middle of the stream earlier, came back with that conspiracy theory that he heard from his source or whatever. I heard it from a completely different source, that there's some validity to that. So take it for what it's worth. I mean, you guys, like Tori said, don't have to believe us. Like, we're just a couple of yahoos. But I was shocked hearing that from the person I heard it from. So like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know why. I don't know why we do them a favor, but let's just say this was out of left field.
Yeah. I think my guy just came up with it on a whim. I don't think he necessarily knew anything. I think he came up with it on a whim. So, I mean, but it's like this deal makes, and I said this at the time, this deal makes no sense to the point that there's almost something fishy with it. And yeah, I mean, don't believe us. I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm not trying to, it's not a situation where we have any incentive to make any of this up. Like, why would we want to make you guys scared or fucking upset? My bad for cursing, but, why would we want to do that? And there's no incentive, so.
Play-by-play, because a trade of just Norm for Rubio and a first means we got a first for just Norm and could still use Robert Covington in a trade to get all kinds of assets, including a trade exception. Even if it's not a pick, it could have generated a trade exception using 3 teams and that kind of stuff. So there's reasons why this trade left us with basically nothing to trade this summer with two of our most tradable assets. And I mean, I guess Keon Johnson could have a little bit of value if he plays well the rest of the season, but if he plays well for us, there's no way we're trading him this offseason, right? So like that probably wouldn't make sense. And then the second round pick is in 2025, so that doesn't really have any value. Plus, like future seconds are just like throw-ins to trades, really. We couldn't even get multiple seconds out of this, right? Which was everything that we heard before. Like, oh, the Clippers' best offer would be like Bledsoe and 3 or 4 seconds, and there's not many teams that are going to be interested in that. But we accepted it for Bledsoe in 1 second. Like, makes no sense. But basically, the fact that we traded them both to the same team, we took back enough salary to stay under the luxury tax, sure, but not enough to make a big enough trade exception. And we didn't get any kind of pick to trade, and we still can't trade our own first if we don't make the playoffs and all that. So what are we supposed to trade this summer? What are we supposed to trade? Like, let's say Jaylen Brown becomes available and they want CJ and 2 firsts for him or something, which would be a good trade for us. We don't have a way to come up with those 2 firsts to get it there. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and the Blazers could still walk their way into a Ben Simmons trade somehow. Apparently, let me make sure this is like a legitimate source. I don't know if this is a legitimate source. I'm not going to necessarily read that out. But it's a situation where something might change with Philadelphia and they might be willing to trade Ben Simmons for CJ. The problem is we don't have any future firsts to trade. So even if we wanted Ben Simmons, we'd obviously have to give up additional value. What's that additional value going to be? Anybody that's a proponent of this trade, what additional value is that going to be? Like, maybe you could have done, like, Rocco and Norm and taken back Tobias and sent Nance somewhere and might have been able to duck the tax that way. I don't know the math on that, but, like, been able to work something like that out. But that's obviously now out the window. Yeah, I mean, you don't have the assets necessary to swing a Ben Simmons deal at this point. You have to get your own first round picks. The problem is we can't trade any future first because we owe the 2022 our 2022 first round pick to Chicago, and it's lottery protected. So once we make the lottery this year, we'll owe them a 2023 first round pick that will be lottery protected, and in that case, if we make the lottery again, it'll be 2024. And that goes through 2028, so we can't trade a 2025 first. We can't trade a 2026 first. That's the problem right now. And that's why I kept pitching, maybe we have to give up a second in this deal, but it still makes sense to trade Rocco to the Bulls, along with maybe our second round pick, which should be pretty good, for our first round pick back, which isn't going to convey to them, and that opens up the possibility to open up all future firsts. And I'm sure that was on the table for Rocco, at least as like an option for the Blazers. I don't know if Chicago was on board with that, but like, it's a situation where Chicago's probably still just sitting here evaluating their options, and maybe they would have taken a deal like that. It would have made sense for them. Or maybe we have to throw in, I don't know, they can't really take back Norm easily, but maybe we can get another good second round pick from a Norm trade that we can also throw Chicago's way to get our future first back, right? Now, at least at that point, then you would have all your future firsts to be able to combine with CJ McCollum to try and go get a Ben Simmons. But we shot that in the foot 6 days before the trade deadline for what? Keon Johnson, a 6'3 guard with an 8'1" standing reach, who's 2 years away from helping. That's why? And a second round pick 3 years from now? That's why? It doesn't make any sense.
Let me address something Randy Powell said in chat. Y'all are crazy thinking we don't have any future firsts to trade. You can absolutely negotiate protection changes to open the future picks, or word it to the next available first. Okay. Tori and I obviously know that, right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's when people try and tell us CBA stuff.
You want to get 3 firsts, right? To trade in the future years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say it takes 3 firsts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, you would have to make this year's pick unprotected. Do you think it would be a good idea, Tori, to make this year's pick unprotected?
Hell no.
Hell no. Hell no indeed.
Eric Bledsoe's on our team now. Eric, right. Hell no.
All right. So let's say we only needed 2 firsts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's call Chicago and offer them that 2025 second we just got to change the protection on it So Chicago would demand less protection a couple years from now. So we'd have to go to like unprotected, basically, or maybe it goes down to like top 3 protected or something, which is terrible for us. And then just to get it to word it for 2 years after that, right? Um, that's the problem. It's worded through 2028, and it includes our 2028 second round pick if it doesn't convey. So we literally cannot word it in a way where the pick could convey 2 years after that without the possibility of whatever team that gets that wording could end up with nothing, because we've already traded our 2028 second, so you don't know if that pick is going to convey between now and then. And yes, you could trade the things, but Chicago's going to ask either for something really good for changing the protections on it or giving our pick back altogether, or we're going to have to word it in a way where the protections lessen. And in a situation where we just made a terrible trade to where it's going to be very difficult to recover from in terms of getting this back on track towards contention versus full rebuild, why would we want to do anything to risk any of our future picks outside, including this year, as possibly going as a top 5 pick or whatever to another team? Like, that's just insane if you think right now, with all the uncertainty going on with this franchise, that we should trade unprotected picks in future years, risking that Dame could like be so mad at some of these moves we've made and ask out eventually, or maybe we don't even want Dame here anymore. Like, who knows with this franchise anymore? And we all of a sudden trade Dame, and we've given up all these other future picks. Like, that's just crazy, man. Like, I know that's an option. I know we can probably work it out and word it some way, but I don't have any faith in this organization to pull that off and make it so it's beneficial to us, and we even get back a guy who's good enough to take us to a level that we need to do in order to give up that many picks.
Yep, agreed. Shout out to, I think this was the most recent one. Cole Ray became a starter level member. Appreciate it, Cole. Welcome to the club. And then $5 dono from Hyperprime. He says, if it is found that the trade to the Clippers was done as a favor to Ballmer to be true, does it go against any NBA rules or policies? I'm not sure. Eric, do you know?
I mean,
they wouldn't really be able to prove
unless they found where they paid us or something under the table, or like something happened to where like Jody got an extra yacht for doing that, or so I don't know how you prove it.
Ballmer gave her like 1 million Bitcoin.
Yeah, it was probably like untraceable or something. Yeah.
I mean, there's no way to prove it, and I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know. This is such a weird concept that I can't even like fully wrap my head around it to even discuss like what would the legality of that be.
DJ Vega says if we get a first or second from a CJ trade, then we can just give them one of those for our first back. So congratulations. We have all our first back, but now we don't have CJ to trade. We don't have Norm to trade. We don't have Rocco to trade. We have a tough time matching any max contract like a Ben Simmons or a whoever you have. Like, how are we supposed to match the salary then in those trades? Because we can't combine any of the salaries we get back in trades now. We can't combine Bledsoe's contract with, say, Satoransky or Josh Hart or whoever we get from New Orleans to bring in a Ben Simmons. So, we're kind of – this is why – I mean, quite frankly, I read that interview or that statement by Joe Cronin, and it's all BS. Like, he's either, like, doesn't realize – that none of the stuff he said is true, or he's just spewing BS to try and pass it off as something that he's trying to fool the fans on. Quite frankly, he's trying to fool people because he made a stupid move, and he can't justify it. Yep.
Yeah, nothing justifies today's debacle of a trade. Agree, definitive. It's there's nothing you can do to justify this. If you recently trade for a player, you cannot combine that player with another player in order to match salary. So Eric Bledsoe's making 18 million, Nurkic's making 12, right? You could trade Bledsoe and Nurkic for a guy making like 22 million because Bledsoe matches that 22 million on his own without needing Nurkic's salary added on. But you cannot trade Bledsoe and Nurkic for a guy making $30 million, even though they both add up to $30 million, because you'd have to combine Bledsoe's $18 million, which doesn't match the $30 million on his own, along with Nurkic's $12 million, which doesn't match the $30 million on his own. You'd have to combine those two salaries. You're not able to do that. So I've seen a lot of people toss around, oh, what if we just attach a Bledsoe to some players we have and go out and get something? The league rules prevent you from doing that. That is not doable. That is not possible. You cannot attach Eric Bledsoe's contract to another contract to match salary. You can add players into the trade with Bledsoe if it's not needed to be combined, but any like big salary player, I mean Ben Simmons, Siakam, whoever, you would have even like Jaylen Brown. Bledsoe doesn't match him on his own, so how are you going to match that salary? It's not doable with Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Nurk and Nance, but like, why would Philly or
but like you're forced into doing that. You know what I mean? Like you're forced into doing that. Instead, they could have traded Norman Powell to New Orleans and got nothing back. That would have been $15.5 million, and then they could have traded Nurkic somewhere else, which would have been $27 million. That would have matched a Ben Simmons. Right, that would have matched the Pascal Siakam. That would have matched Jaylen Brown. That would match whoever. Right, that in the norm to New Orleans for no salary option with us getting a first and maybe even a second back was on the table. It was an option. So the whole notion that Cronin took this deal to increase their future flexibility, their ability to make moves, is a fault. It's false. It's not true. It's just simply not true.
So people are asking, let me just read this off.
Okay.
This is from Ben Golliver. I'm assuming it was him that made this interview. It doesn't say who did the interview, so I'm guessing it was Ben. So it says, Blazers interim GM Joe Cronin on his trade with the Clippers. Why make the trade? First thing he says, cap flexibility. Tori, please explain how we got cap flexibility from this. Are we under the tax? Are we under the salary cap?
We're under the tax. We're not under the salary cap.
Are we under the salary cap for this summer?
Nope.
And why is that?
Because we're still paying too much money in salary. And also, here's the thing for this summer with this trade and how it doesn't create cap flexibility. We could have traded Norm for nothing, okay, and gotten rid of his contract. And then we could have let Rocco walk, and his contract would have been gone. And we would have cleared both those contracts. But instead, we got Eric Bledsoe.
And have a first and a second to trade.
And have a first and a second, right? And maybe we could have traded Rocco for an expiring in a second. We could have had a first and 2 seconds, right? Instead, we got Justice Winslow, who I believe is owed $4 million next year. I don't know if it's a 2 year. I don't know if there's a team option.
$4.1 million. Now it's guaranteed, fully guaranteed.
Yeah. So an additional $4 million for a trash player in Justice Winslow, and then Eric Bledsoe is $19 million if we keep him on the team next year, or if we cut him, he costs $4 million. So that's another $4 million to tack against our cap if we cut Eric Bledsoe. So that's an additional $8 million.
We pay him to go away.
Yep, that's an additional $8 million against the cap. So how does this trade increase our cap flexibility over the other options on the table? It doesn't. It doesn't. So that's the first reason we made this trade.
We got a $6.5 million trade exception. Yep.
And we could have gotten a $15.5 million traded player exception if we did the New Orleans trade. That's how, that's so fishy. Like, the reasoning for this trade actually works against this trade.
Yep. And yeah, the trade. The only good thing that happened today was, I mean, not that it matters really anymore, but the salary cap got announced as being possibly a couple million higher than they first expected, and so that makes the luxury tax line a little higher, so that helps us out with some flexibility, but that had nothing to do with the trade.
We're going to
And
sign another Eric Bledsoe, though,
for
or
for
another Evan
him
Turner, though.
for
Yeah.
him to act like he did something to increase the flexibility when he actually hurt the flexibility is just complete negligence by him, right?
Yep.
And then he says the opportunity to clean our books up a little and just create more opportunities for this coming week and beyond through draft and free agency. What opportunities did you clean up? What clean up our books? You put $8 million on our cap for next year when you could have traded Norm for nothing and you could have let Rocco walk, right? How is that cleaning up your books? You're making it worse. All right. So you're just trying to justify like getting rid of Norm's contract in the future like you did something there when you really didn't do anything. And you could have cleaned it up very easily by trading him to, I mean, we could have traded him straight up for an expiring contract if that's what you wanted to do, right?
Yep.
And you increased our opportunities through the draft and free agency? The draft, really? The draft? Really? How did this improve our draft other than we're obviously like trying to be worse? Like, right, we traded 2 starters for nothing. Like, we're trying to be worse. So, I mean, obviously we're trying to tank, but it doesn't improve our draft positioning, our draft capital, anything like that other than getting a second-round pick in the future, which is, I mean, I'm glad we got a second-round pick, but, like, still, I mean, that doesn't...
2025.
That doesn't create more opportunities this week for us.
Yeah.
And in fact, it lessens the opportunities because like Tori and I just explained to you, you cannot combine the players we brought in. So instead of being able to combine Rocco and Norm with Nance or CJ or whatever and make some kind of big trade, this actually limits how many different trades we can make because we can only trade certain people by themselves now instead of being able to combine as many salaries as we needed to with how many ever players we had on the roster. So this guy is flat out either like doesn't understand how to be a GM or he's completely lying. There's no other way around it. So this guy is trying to pass off something he did today as creating something it didn't. And if he believes that or he thinks that's true, then he absolutely, I mean, that is a fireable offense for anyone else. But of course, we have Jody who got saved money today and is going to get a big payment because of it. So she thinks it's probably good. And like, she doesn't understand any of this stuff. So this crap he's spewing to the media, that's the same thing he probably told Jody is why we would do this trade, you know? And she's like, oh, great. Yeah, awesome. Let's do it. And that's so Cronin's either a liar or he's terrible at his job. And that's, I mean, either way, it's horrible. And that's why I'm so down because from his own words, he doesn't know what he's doing or he's lying about the trade. So like what good could possibly come from this? And that's not a source or anything like this. This is directly from Joe Cronin. He either screwed us up or he's lying about screwing us up. Either way, he screwed us up. So, I mean, what are we supposed to do?
Yep. And here's what I think happened, Dirk. I think Steve Ballmer went to Jody Allen with this trade package and said, it helps you duck the luxury tax. And Jody Allen was like, you know what, cool. And Steve's her friend. And, all right, I'll make our GM do it. And she went to Cronin. And Cronin was, I mean, I would like to think he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then she's like, well, if you want to keep your job, you will. And then he went along with it. That is my best guess as to what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I mean, obviously the goal is to get a luxury tax. I mean, there's no question that should have been the goal, right? We shouldn't pay tax on a team that's trying to tank us and be as bad as possible for a draft pick and that doesn't have Damian Lillard for the rest of the season, right? There's no reason to be a tax team. So, like, that was obviously a goal that Jody had for Joe Cronin to show that he is a capable general manager, right? So I guess he did just enough to keep his job, like you said, maybe. But, I mean, any person who knows anything about basketball, if Jody had a basketball person in her ear, like, this is what she needs to have. I mean, who knows? She should have this. I don't know why she wouldn't. But she should have someone, not Burt Cold, who's like the head of Vulcan or whatever, like not him, she should have a independent source that she pays as a consultant and be like, hey, so my GM's telling me this. Is this accurate? And he could say, well, wait a minute. Like, that's kind of the opposite of what it does or whatever. Like, but it does get us on a luxury tax. And then she can make the decision from there. But, like, yeah, you shouldn't have to check your general manager either, though. So, but, like, she doesn't know the CBA. So, like, yeah, I don't understand why she would like a Jerry West type person, like, like, I don't know. I guess that's what Danny Ainge is doing in Utah. He's kind of like a consultant to the owner or whatever. But like, yes, someone who knows what they're doing. It doesn't even have to be someone that has an official position, just someone she trusts that she could talk these through before making a decision or letting someone like Joe Cronin, an interim GM, ruin the franchise.
Yep. DJ Vega says, you guys are crazy if you think Billups and Dame had no say in that trade. I don't know what I want to say to that. I was just saying in case you wanted to say anything to that.
I mean, yeah. You can believe whatever you want. This trade, I mean, you're not going to believe me, so it doesn't even. I mean, I shouldn't even say it because the people have made up their mind that this is some sort of like thing that they have some grand plan and don't worry about it. Those people aren't going to be swayed by what I'm going to say, and those that know what I'm going to say are, I don't even have to say it. So, yeah, this is not. Yeah, I don't even know how to say it. Let's just say this is when I say this ruins the franchise, or this, I said that multiple times earlier today, that this is a move that pretty much doomed us from being like a contender in Dame's for the rest of Dame's window here. Let's just say that is because of the fact that there weren't a lot of consultations on these trades like people would assume would happen. This was kind of out of the blue. And yeah, like I said, you don't have to believe me on that, but this was not something that was part of some grand plan or anything. So yeah, it was something that was just made to serve a purpose, and they have no follow-up plan. I mean, like I said, they could get lucky and another team could bail them out. Of course, they're going to say they have a follow-up plan and that everything's fine and watch out for the rest of this 6 days or whatever. But like, it's going to take a team to bail them out from here on out, and I don't even know if that justifies what happened today.
Yeah, it doesn't. Even if the Blazers pull off a phenomenal follow-up trade, if this trade went down how it seems like it might have went down, it's a serious problem. Even if they have a great follow-up trade. If it went down where Jody was doing a favor for Steve Ballmer, I mean, Paul Allen founded Microsoft, Steve Ballmer worked for Microsoft. Paul Allen actually was one of the main influences for Steve Ballmer to buy a team. If this is how it truly went down, where it was some sort of favor, then it doesn't matter what we do. We need a new owner, and we need a new GM, and we need a new everything. Everything. I mean, you can keep Chauncey, right? Because I don't think Chauncey was a part of this. Other than that, you need to clean house. Because that, yeah. Even if they have a good follow-up move, because you can't have an owner that doesn't have the team in her best interest, and that's what this trade seems like it might be. Like, it's just so questionable. So, yeah, I mean, you guys don't have to believe it, but, I mean, there's something wrong with this trade. There's something fishy with this trade. We said it when it went down. We said it during the stream, and now from what Eric's hearing, what I'm hearing, there might be something more to this. So, yeah. I mean, we have no reason to make that up either. I would love to preach positivity. I've been preaching positivity all season.
Well, okay, so let's say we pull off the Pelicans, Bulls, Blazers trade, right? The three-way trade. Only it's Nance instead of Rocco, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if that trade was made before this trade, I would be so ecstatic. Like, it would be so awesome. And now it's like, what's the point, really? You know what I mean? Because, like, that, it makes it harder to accomplish what the end goal of that trade was by not accumulating enough assets in this trade. And
yeah, it was like that trade was supposed to be like 60 to 70% of the ingredients for like a cake, right? But if you're missing those other 30% of ingredients, the whole cake is ruined.
Yeah. And so we could still pull it off, but the problem is Rocco makes what,
12.9 mil.
I mean, well, I'm just saying the difference between Rocco and Nance, I think, is about 2.3 million or so.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So that means that just the basis of that trade, sending out less salary unless we included a couple more minimums than we did in our scenarios, you know, that means that we can't quite cover the price of certain players coming back. So instead of getting like a 20.8 million, we might only get like an 18.6 million exception or something like that. And then someone like a Jeremy Grant all of a sudden doesn't fit into that anymore, you know, or something like, you know, like this is the difference between how razor thin it is to getting certain players. So it's just, it's tough. Yeah. And so okay, play by play. Here's where you're wrong. It has been, 6 months since the NBA draft? When was the draft this year? July 29th or something like that? So it's been 6 months from the draft. Things happen. Players have been seen. They've played in actual NBA games. Value changes. It's not as simple as this guy was this pick, he's worth that much money, right? That's not how it works. Keon Johnson probably has second round value at this point with how much compared to other players. Take a Herb Jones. Would New Orleans trade Herb Jones for Keon Johnson straight up? Hell no. Hell no. And Herb Jones was a second round pick. So, like, if we got Herb Jones, would you be saying, oh, we couldn't even get a first round pick value back for that because all we got was a second round pick from this last draft, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not the case. Yeah. And once again, okay, play by play. First of all, I mean, take it or leave it. I have heard Rocco had numerous teams calling. And even if he had no value, why would you trade him before any team gets desperate, possibly, right? So if he had no value right now, zero breakdown, right? Zero value right now, right? You wouldn't just ditch him 6 days before the deadline because, like I said earlier, there are going to be teams such as there's numerous teams interested in Jeremy Grant, Harrison Barnes, those kind of people right now. Not all those teams are going to get those players. Not all those teams that have been interested in Ben Simmons for months are going to get a Ben Simmons. So where do you think they're going to turn when they don't get those and they're stuck with players they don't want or that have been rumored to be in trades and they pretty much have to move them because that. And now we don't have the option to then trade away that player, right? So it's just, this is the type of trade, like I've said, you make at the last second on deadline deal. If you have no other offers, you're up against it, You have to get under the tax for this team. You have no other way of doing it. Fine, maybe you just accept that, right? But in any other scenario where there is still a chance that these players' values could shoot up in the next few days, there is no justification for it. And it's just, I don't understand. Like, you can say Keon Johnson has value, but he didn't. I mean, the Clippers, it's not like they valued him. I mean, why? I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah. Yep. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, we're still gonna do a show on deadline day. Even if we had no moves left to make, we'd still have a show on deadline day.
Mm-hmm.
So, come join us. It'll just be a different vibe. Still be a different vibe, man. I was so excited to maybe not even make a move until then, and know we're gonna make some moves and potentially make some good moves. And now it's like not like all my excitement stashed. Yeah, I can't believe that happened, Eric. Like, I'm still in shock. I've never seen a personnel move from any sport with my favorite team that is as shocking as that trade is.
And DJ Vega, once again, and this goes to play-by-play too. So you're telling me Roca was not worth the first. Fine. I would be fine with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely rather trade him for nothing in order to create a big trade exception, giving him for free to whatever the Celtics. The Celtics send Josh Richardson to the Pelicans. We get nothing, right? I would have rather done that as part of a CJ or a Norm trade than anything we did today. So even if he had no value at all, I still would have traded him, and the Celtics would have. The Celtics, this is outside of the Blazers. This has nothing to do with them. This is a national source that had this. They offered for Malik Beasley of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who sucks. They offered Josh Richardson and their choice of Romeo Langford and Aaron Nesmith. And the Timberwolves turned it down. Why did they turn it down? Because they didn't want to make their cap flexibility and contract flexibility hindered with over a week left in the trade till the trade deadline, right? So everyone was clowning them because they didn't accept that trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we will clown them if they end up keeping Malik Beasley and don't make a big trade, right? So that's a bad move. But they kept all their options open. And that's the type of trade that, as long as Boston doesn't make a move, they can go back probably and revisit that trade with them, right? Or if Boston is about to make another move, they get wind of it, or maybe Boston calls them and be like, last chance. Maybe they consider that then. But there's no reason to do it right now. There's no reason to make moves like that. And that was what my Robert Covington for Nesmith thing was. Like, I didn't even care that we got Nesmith in that trade. Yes, it would have been a great bonus to get a young player that still has 2 years left on his rookie deal, whatever. But the whole point of that was to generate the trade exception, not to get Aaron Nesmith necessarily.
Yep. Alex Wolf says, is $8 million in dead cap next year really that much? Well, I mean, $4 million would be for Justice Winslow, who I guess we could trade and maybe give up the second we got for a team to take him on, and then it's Norm and Rocco for Bledsoe and Keon Johnson. But I mean, it is a lot when your GM is preaching free agent flexibility.
Play-by-play, you're just making stuff up. Rocco's value wasn't going anywhere but down. What do you even mean by that? Like, how?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's fine if you like the trade. Like, cool. Like, that's great. But it was a bad use of assets too, and it's going to hinder our ability to get better in the future. And we are better off not trading them at all if that was the case.
I mean, supposedly they had better deals on the table for both these guys.
Yeah.
And apparently this was the worst option. for even one of them, but let alone both of them. Like, that's fine. You can like the trade. I don't like what I'm hearing though. But it's not ideal. Anyway, you want to hop into player cards, Eric? This is a post-game show.
Do it. Yeah. Let's get to the Twitter space.
Anthony Simons, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals.
Oh. Yeah, it's Justice Winslow, P-Town made, but yeah, I can't wait to see that lineup this year.
What?
Dennis Smith, Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and Tony Snell with some others. With Cody Zeller when he comes back.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Shout out Jared Store, $10 dono says, remember, don't keep a CBA book everywhere and still suck at your jobs, kids. Well, hopefully at this point he doesn't need a CBA book, but he might. Appreciate the $10 dono, Jared. Yeah, I mean, Anthony tonight, I don't know. It was an okay game. He's obviously not playing as well as he did during that hot stretch a couple weeks ago, but, I mean, weird circumstances tonight, and, still a okay game, I guess.
It was 6 for 9 inside the arc. Thought he had some strong drives. Turnovers, yeah. I mean, 3 is not terrible for a lead guard, but, yeah. It was just, he was okay.
He just struggled shooting the ball. He struggled to make threes, and he had that game-tying shot that was close. That was a really good play design. We actually got a very solid shot off of that without them being able to foul the guy with the ball. If you foul off the ball in that scenario, it's like, 1 in the ball or 2 in the ball?
Yeah.
So you can't foul off the ball there in that situation, and we did a good job of not giving them the opportunity and getting a good shot out of it by a good shooter. Just didn't happen to go in. He was 6 for 9 attacking the rim, so good to see him.
And one at the end.
Yeah, the and one at the end as well.
Crossed the line 5 times, which is better than he had been.
Good for him. So he did a better job attacking the basket than he has in some previous games. So that was good to see. That was the positive for him tonight. Shout out Kyle Wilson, $2 dono says, Portland is fighting with Oregon State University for most hard team to watch. I mean, it's easy to watch if you want to tank. Just go watch, guys, just go watch Auburn games. And then when you watch us, you'll be like, yay, we suck. We can go get Jabari Smith. Or go watch Gonzaga games and watch Chet Holmgren. And then Chet Holmgren's trying to shoot like 70% from the field and 50% from 3 this year as a 7'1" guy with good rim protection. So, I mean, that guy would be fun to have as well. Go watch him and get excited about him. Go watch Banchero and get excited about him. Maybe go watch Jaden Ivey and get excited about him. I don't know. I know he's a guard, but it seems like Cronin loves his guards as well. So, we're probably going to draft Jaden Ivey #1 overall if we get the first pick. Imagine. Just go watch college, guys, and enjoy it. College basketball is fun to watch. For me, the atmosphere is good. And go do some scouting. I enjoy doing that every year, even when we don't have a pick. Just kind of scout some guys and figure out who I like. If you want to enjoy watching some basketball, then that would be my recommendation. Maybe record games and then watch back a certain prospect when they're in the game. Skip through the free throws and timeouts and all that sort of stuff. And you can watch a full game of a player in 20 minutes, Eric? If they're playing a lot of minutes, So, yeah, that would be my recommendation if you want to enjoy basketball, because this team is going to keep losing games, and the only upside of that is the draft, which is an upside. It is a silver lining.
I mean, people would obviously it'd be a meme if we drafted a guard, but if we trade CJ, we only have 2 guards on the roster, I guess. 3 if you include Keon, but
yeah,
we would need a for sure third guard, and if that's the best player on the board, I mean, I wouldn't take any of them top 3 for the Blazers, but even though I might have some of those guards rated higher than other players, but yeah.
Me and Eric, I feel like we're gonna argue more than we've ever argued about anything in regards to the top 5 of this year's draft.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be entertaining. We can go full stiff. We can go. Do you want to be Skip or Stephen A. Smith? We can throw it back to the old days of First Take.
I don't want to be compared to either one of those guys.
Okay, well, you can be a better version of either one of those guys, and I'll be a better version of the other one, and that's what this show will be. We'll come in here yelling about how Chet Holmgren's underrated, and you'll be yelling about Johnny Davis.
I'll be like one of the guys they have on now, like JJ Redick or Ryan Clark or someone that's like actually smart and knows what they're talking about.
You'll be that guy? Who am I going to be then?
You could be the old guy who yells at the clouds.
I was going to say vice versa. You can be the Dwight James and I'll be the JJ Redick, man. Wait, did you say Ryan Hollins in there?
No, I said Ryan Clark, the football guy.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I heard Ryan. I was thinking Ryan Hollins. I was like, wait, you really want to be Ryan? I mean, I'll let you be Ryan Hollins, you know?
No. You'll be Kendrick Perkins. I'll be, yeah.
Yikes. Anyway, let's move on to, nope, do we have the right graphics? The hell? Did we just talk about, yeah, it's the right cards. Why is there, hold up, let me look at something. Why is there Nasir and, oh, because I didn't delete them. Okay, hold on. I like copied over the folder from,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna. Roy says someone's got to be Max Kellerman. My every answer will be, I want Iguodala.
Except you'll be saying you want Jabari Smith.
I don't care what the question is. I want Iguodala.
I mean, is that what you guys want for, off-season content when we suck and are depressed about our future? He can do his Max Kellerman impersonations. I can work on my Skip Bayless. That'll be fun. Anyway, I got the right cards, or let me make sure I have the right cards here. Let me get rid of that and then bring it back.
Cole says, Eric's a big corn-fed country boy. I was a super skinny city boy until I had numerous injuries that made it very difficult to do cardio and lose weight. And over the past few years, I've gained a lot of weight. But yeah, so now I'm a fat ass. But
you went full Zion.
My whole life, I was considered like a super skinny, like twig, like Chet Holmgren type until recently. So
I can't even imagine that. I can't even picture that.
Yeah,
that's wild to me. Somebody said I remind them of Richard Jefferson. I think it was Aeromancer. I can't scroll up for some reason. My chat's glitching. But somebody said I remind them of Richard Jefferson in terms of mannerisms. I don't think I like that. And I don't think I agree with that either. Do you agree with that, Eric?
I don't really. I mean, I've heard a game be called by Richard Jefferson, and I see him on like NBA TV sometimes, but I don't know if I necessarily have seen him enough to pick up on anything that would be similar.
Okay, cool. I'll take that. I don't think I want to be Richard Jefferson. Let's move on and talk about CJ Denial. I don't understand this nickname. CJ Denial McCollum. Maybe he was making this this graphic when we were talking about the stages of grief and just needed a word to throw in as his nickname. 19 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 9 for 24 from the field, Eric. 1 for 9 from 3. CJ could not make shots. So he's probably going to be off the team in it could be tomorrow. I don't know. What did you think of CJ today?
I mean, he didn't shoot well. Yeah, it's same kind of thing with Anthony. I thought he was okay elsewhere, but yeah, just brutal shooting. And he did revert back to quite a few ISOs in this game. But once again, we had a weird lineup, and who knows if players were running the right sets or something. Sometimes you just gotta take over if you're a scorer. So yeah.
Agreed. Let's move on to Yusuf Anger. What are these nicknames? Do you understand these? Where's Chris to explain the nicknames?
He must be going on he must be doing that, the stages of grief or whatever.
I think he is. Because wait, what was Anthony? I didn't even read Anthony's.
Shock.
Yeah. Denial. Anger.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yusuf Anger Nurkic, 14 points, 16 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 6 for 19. Good tank job, Nurk. A round of applause for Nurkic and CJ doing their best to tank as maybe their final lasting memory in Rip City.
Still has the turnover. Too many turnovers. And obviously 6 of 19 from a big man, not good. But you look at 14 and 16, it's not bad, and rebounding the ball well still. But then
Yeah,
again,
maybe we can trade him for a second round pick.
then again, yeah, who's? Oh yeah, I got it. Um, New York's not happy with their center rotation. Maybe we can trade him for Kemba Walker because he's got a nice $9 million on his contract next year, straight up for Kemba. There we go. We got the
Kemba and Eric Bledsoe.
Kemba, Eric Bledsoe backcourt next year. That'd be awesome. Yep. Might as well trade Ant too, right?
That's so scary. Let's just move on. Let's move on to depression. Hey, look at Tony Snell, though. Tony Depression Snelleroni. He had himself a game, Eric. His best game in a Blazer uni. 5 for 10 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3. Had 3 assists and 2 blocks with no turnovers and only 1. What got into Tony Snell tonight? Was it like, oh, Norm Powell got traded. I can be the starting small forward for the future. And he tried to prove it?
Honestly, I just think it's 36 minutes.
I mean, he's got lots of minutes. He's had 27 minutes and, only records 1 stat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Trevin, that's a great point. Kemba would add some nice cap flexibility with his horrible contract. When we could just let Nurk walk.
Yeah, it'll be in the off season. We can combine Eric Bledsoe and Kemba Walker, and that's $27 million of salary to trade out.
I don't want that combo.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Yeah.
Man, yeah. I'm joking because I'm hiding the pain of that actually being a possibility.
I'm ready for the worst. I'm legitimately, guys, I mean it. Be ready for the worst, okay? Pray for the best, but be ready for the worst.
Oh yeah, that would give us some draft flexibility as well. Yeah,
Kemba's gonna go scout for us,
okay.
I guess.
Props to Trevin and Krish that they're smart enough not to fall for that BS, and they instantly recognize how stupid that is.
Did they? I didn't see the reaction instantly.
No, I mean so that was Trevin saying Kemba would add some nice cap flexibility, and then Krish follows it up with Kemba gives us draft flexibility. So they recognize just a stupid trade like that, how that doesn't work that way. So
yep, I'm glad. See, that's why we educate people for better or worse.
Yeah. 2 of the people who have been following this channel understand that better than the person that's in charge of the Blazers right now. I
failed to... I don't think Cronin's that dumb. I just think there's something else, Trending detachment.
I just want to say Tony had a good game, so...
Good for Tony Snelleroni.
Yeah.
And good for Trendon detachment.
Yeah.
What's the addition here?
Baisley?
Detachment.
Or Baisley was on there.
No, Baisley was a couple games ago. I think it's just there's white around the border, actually, Eric. There's white around the border. I don't think that was there originally. I think that is the addition. Because last game it was the Hollywood sign in the background. 20 minutes at 8 points, 4 for 5 from the field. Good game for Trendon. 0 for 1 from 3. Krish is funny, man. I like watching Trendon. He's going to be fun to watch the rest of the season.
Yeah, good game. Just want to maybe utilize some playmaking, get some assists, and not turn the ball over. I think they were both on offensive fouls, but would have liked to seen him get those 36 minutes instead of Snell tonight, but he did get in foul trouble at one point, so maybe that was the reason. But I think Trendon is one of the few bright spots for me moving forward.
He needs to play 36 minutes a game for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Shout out Gray Hughes Investigates, $5 dono says, out of town at Bandon Dunes. I am pumped the Blazers got rid of Rocco and Powell. Thank you for the $5 dono, Gray. Watch our first stream on it, and then watch this stream, and I don't think you'll be singing the same tune, or you'll be vehemently disagreeing with us, because this was the worst trade that I've ever seen the Blazers make as a friend of this team.
I mean, he didn't like those guys, so maybe it's just the
I get not liking those guys, but even if you don't like those guys, we could have gotten a much better trade package back.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't.
It's not the worst trade in Blazers franchise history, but it's pretty bad.
I mean, the one since I've been a fan and paid attention, it is. Because I started paying attention right after the Chris Paul draft trade or whatever, where we could have drafted Chris Paul and we wanted Martell Webster. That was pretty bad. But that wasn't like as obviously bad at the time, I assume. So
Um, I mean, it was pretty bad. Like Darren Williams and Chris Paul were thought of as like generational point guards, and Darren Williams started off like great, and then he kind of fell off. But he was very, very good, especially in Utah. Um, and yeah, of course, the Jermaine O'Neal for Dale Davis was just terrible. So there's lots of bad trades, but yeah, I don't know. Just in terms of like sucking the wind out of the sails, this one's up there for me.
yep, agreed. Let's move on from Trendon to Greg bargaining. We're finally at the bargaining stage. I mean, he played with energy tonight. 7 points, good for him. 3 for 6 from field. A poster. Missed his only 2 3-point attempts. What'd you think of the rookie tonight, Eric?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to see much of the first half other than highlights when he scored those 7 points. But yeah, nice to see him get some extended minutes and not look too bad out there.
Yep, I agree. Let's move on to CJ acceptance. We're finally at the acceptance stage. 7 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. 1 for 2 from 3, played 27 minutes. I don't know. He hustled and did some things and had a CJ Ellaby game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was fine.
Phenomenal evaluation there and analysis, huh, guys? Wow, have the mighty have fallen. Let's move on to Dennis Hope Smith Jr. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 for 7 from the field, 2 turnovers in 16 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis played.
He definitely played. He really, really played.
Minus 11.
Ben returned to life Macklemore. Yeah, he couldn't make a shot, Eric. He had the Tony Snell game. And Tony Snell had the Ben McLemore game. They swapped roles.
Hey, Ray, I have some bad news for you. He says, extend Watford now. We currently cannot extend Watford until we make another roster move because we do not have an open roster spot.
Yep. Yep.
Are we lagging, or is that just me?
I think it's just you.
Darn
I think
it.
we're fine. Are you lagging?
Yeah, I think it's me.
Am I robot-y right now? Beep boop.
Nope. You are. I hear you fine on Skype. It's just my YouTube that's acting weird, and now I'm back.
I think you're fine. You should be fine then, because we can still see you and hear you. So, yeah. And then the final one is oh no, that was the final one. All right, that's the player cards.
McLemore got a rebound and a turnover. That's good.
Good for him. So I guess we can do a Twitter space and take a couple colors. I honestly don't even really feel like.
Yeah, let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, I mean, we have another stream tomorrow. We'll have a space. I just am just not feeling it.
It doesn't have to be very long. My man Dro wants to call in, though. He didn't get a chance to.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to take people that were unable to call in on the trade deadline stream because there's a lot of people that were waiting. There's like a lot of people trying to call in at once. So we're going to take those people. Give you guys a chance to still call in today with your reaction to the trade. And give your thoughts on it. Other than that, probably won't take any other callers. Just want to give you guys a chance. I said I would earlier today, so
we'll probably go through people a little faster than we normally would too.
Yeah. So I will create the space now, and I will mute on Skype, Eric. And yeah, I'm just gonna create it on my personal account. So just go to my personal account, not the main Blazers Uprise account, and do it that way. So. Anyway, I will mute on Skype, Eric. It's made. I will post the link in chat. And we will call it good. Dro already in here with the request before we can even get Eric in here. Let me get Eric in here first, Dro, and then we'll talk to you. Monty Williams, yes they did. We robbed ourselves. All right, there's Eric. Invite to co-host. So there we go. Just let me know when you're here, Eric. Hello. I can't hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, now I can hear you. Do you have to like mute your mic and then unmute it in order to get it to work, or?
No, it just takes like for some reason like 30 seconds until it gives me the option to unmute it.
Yeah,
it's like slow for some reason. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, well we got Dro up first. What's going on, Dro? How you feeling today, man?
Hey, Dro.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Man.
How you guys doing?
Not good.
Good. How are you?
I know. I just have to ask that.
No, I know. Normally we answer good. Today, no, not good.
Yeah. Well, this is what I've been told from somebody. My mother, she used to live near a former Blazer. She actually grew up with the guy. And he's basically saying, I'm not going to say his name, but he was basically saying the year that, well, last year when we lost to the Nuggets, he was basically telling like my mom and I that the owner, like Jody Allen, she doesn't really want the team. She doesn't care about the team. She just wants to be greedy. And obviously that came out, and that came out to be true. And like, it worries me because she's the type of person to like sell the team. You know, if there was a Dame trade on the table, she probably wouldn't even care if we got rid of him or anything. Like, this is really alarming. Who the hell does a trade like this? What the hell was that, guys? Like, my daughter could have made a better trade than that. Like,
Eric said that same thing.
Dude, that was the NBA 2K trade.
Yeah.
Well,
like, I don't know what's going on. Am I crazy? Like, what is going on?
No, you're not crazy, unfortunately. Go ahead, Eric.
Here's the only reason I disagree with her not caring at all what happens. There's two reasons, actually. One, she's still, like tonight, she went to the game. She was there. Like, she's still rooting for the team, which doesn't make a lot of sense if she was, like, completely checked out and didn't care what happened. And two, this team, if we trade Dame, is going to get so much blowback from the fans and so much, like, they're going to lose a ton of money and the attendance is going to plummet and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if she cares necessarily about what happens, but she would care about that, in my opinion. And maybe it's the point where she's willing to sacrifice that so she doesn't have to pay him $50 million a year or whatever. But it's part of the salary cap anyway, so it's not like we'd be paying any different amount. It just matters who we're paying the money to, the percentage that we're paying to him. So I don't understand why she would want to tank the value of the franchise if she's trying to sell it and doesn't care about it. That's the only blowback I give on that.
It's just, it doesn't make sense. Like, There's no way a player like Damian Lillard, who has worked his ass off his entire life to get to this stage, there's no way that he doesn't know like anything about trades or like other players. There's no way he approved of this. I can't believe that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's tough to believe. Yeah,
I'm at a loss for words, man. Honestly, we need a new ownership, but I think she's not going to sell until like until the league puts in a new CBA and like, or not a new CBA, a new TV deal, and all of a sudden she'll be able to sell the team for more. Like, I think she's milking this thing for money at this point. I know you kind of disagree with that, Eric, but I don't. How many times do we have to hear that from like random places before we believe it? You know, I never thought that until she made this trade, and now I believe it.
The only thing I'll say to that is if we had a GM who made good moves and was creative, he could have a way. We laid out several options from teams that I have heard were actually given offers better than what we did today, And a lot of those same teams were teams that we have been talking about for months as being options. And the problem is we had ways to both significantly help our cap situation moving forward, that cap flexibility, and also put a much better team around Dame or have the chance to do so. And we just don't have a GM that is a good enough GM to make that happen. So that's the problem. I think she lets the GM do whatever they want as long as they're not costing her money as a losing team. So I would be interested to see if that changed, say we had a season like 2019 now, if she would be willing to like go deep into the tax for that team, or if she would like all of a sudden just in the middle of the year request that we get under the tax. Like I can't say that's 100% true until that situation happens, because every season so far that we've been like either just below the tax or just over the tax, and it hasn't made sense to be in the tax because of how bad we've been the last 3 years since she's taken over after the inaugural season where we made the Western Conference Finals. So I'm hesitant to go fully into the she doesn't give a crap and would never pay for a winner if we actually had a winner and a GM that knew what the heck they were doing to create that scenario for her. I would be interested to see what she would do in that situation before just completely writing that off. But yeah, as of right now, every move she's made seems like it's money based, and I can't necessarily blame her for how bad this team's been the last 3 years.
Yep.
Do you think he makes this trade?
Who?
Neil Olshey.
Do you?
No.
I think he makes this trade. Not on his own accord. No.
There's no way. No GM besides Joe Cronin would make that.
I wouldn't have made this trade. I mean, Eric wouldn't have made this trade. It's like, if there was ways to duck the tax with better trades, why didn't we do them? That's what doesn't make any sense to me. There was absolutely better trades out there than this. Like, it's hard to explain to some people that maybe don't see why, but there was absolutely better trades out there than this that still accomplished us ducking a luxury tax. So, go ahead.
Here's why Olshey wouldn't have, right? And why Cronin did. Okay? Olshey traded 2 firsts for Robert Covington, right? He's not going to give Robert Covington up for nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Because that would make him look stupid. Olshey traded Gary Trent Jr., who the last week, if Olshey was our GM watching what Gary Trent Jr. is doing, he's not going to then be like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of Norm then, because then that makes that trade even more worse, right? You know, like Olshey wouldn't have done that. So at least we know with how stubborn he was, he wouldn't have made this trade because that would have made himself look awful. Now, from the opposite perspective, you have Joe Cronin, who could have possibly said today, look, Olshey made these 2 terrible trades, and we have these 2 players. We have a chance to get rid of them and get under the tax, and we can blame it all on Olshey for sticking us with this 5-year contract and ruining our cap flexibility. And now I can talk about how this frees us up for not having to pay Norm for 5 years and all this stuff. And so he can spin it to where he's just cleaning up the mess. You know, he even said that himself, like what that quote I read, I'm cleaning up the cap situation or whatever. So he's basically excusing making a terrible trade because of Olshey. And a good GM would not have done something like that. They would have found a way to get some sort of recouping of the value on those.
Exactly, and he was lying, bro. There's no way he actually believes that he actually did anything. We literally got rid of Norm and Rocco for nothing. Like, what is Eric Bledsoe?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Yeah, he's worthless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if that's his logic, he needs to be fired. Can we just please get a good GM, please? Like, is it really that hard to hire a good GM, please? Like, we had an opportunity to really kind of set a course for this team, and we botched it. It's so sad.
The funniest part is everything he said, that one statement that I read, that is exactly what he had a chance to do. And that's exactly what he didn't do. but now is acting like he did it, right? That makes no sense. He actually had a chance to clean up this roster in a positive way that gave us multiple assets moving forward and ways that we could possibly add that piece next to Dame or multiple pieces next to Dame that took us in a completely different direction or completely changed the course of this franchise. And instead, he basically shut that door.
Yeah, we so, yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dro. You have a good one.
You as well. Peace.
Let me think off a dono. Cole or Roger. I'm just so used to saying Cole. Roger, $2 dono says, what's the chances of us getting a top 3 pick? Right now we're in 9th in terms of the lottery, so it'd be a 20% chance at the top 4 and a 4.5% chance at number 1. So if we move up, then those chances raise. I don't know what it is on top 3 since they draw for the top 4. But it would be
we're 3 games behind Oklahoma City. It would be very tough to get up there. If we got up to the 4th, 5th range, we're talking almost 40% for 5th, and then 48% of the top 4 if you're in 4th or higher.
Still not 50. Likelier than not.
Yeah, and then the top 3 all have a 14% chance of the first pick. So
and what?
Yeah, I mean,
percent chance of top 4 for the top 3? It's like 52%. So barely.
Yeah, so you're probably going to get a top 3 pick, maybe, like unless you get unlucky. But if you get up there, but we don't have a chance of getting into the top 3, I don't think. And even 4th or 5th is kind of unrealistic. So even if we got up into like the 7th range, we're still talking about a 32% chance of getting top 4, let alone a top 3 pick.
It's still not even probably, because if it's 52% chance at top 4 for the number 1 team, then it's going to be lower for top 3. Which means it's less than 50%.
I mean, that's
still
all
more likely.
Yeah,
like even if we tanked all the way up to being the worst team in the league somehow, which isn't going to happen, but let's say we did it, or the 3rd worst team in the league somehow. Let's say we did that, it'd still be more likely that we wouldn't get a top 3 pick than we would. So that's the problem with tanking, and that's why some teams get stuck in a tanking cycle. Because they don't end up top 3, and then they'll draft a guy at like 4 or 5 that doesn't pan out, and then they'll do it again and end up at like 6, and that guy won't pan out, and yeah, that's the issue.
Theoretically, we could get all the way up to 5th and then fall down to 9th because 4 teams ahead of us. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the next person. We got Suns champ. What's going? Oh, it's Roy. What's up, Roy?
What's up, Roy? I think he changed his name for us.
Yeah, I don't know, but you're muted, Roy. You gotta hit that mic button.
Oh, yo, what's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey,
man?
Roy, how you doing,
Good
man?
to talk to you.
Sad day for you guys.
Very,
really,
very, very sad. And sad. It was a sad day for you yesterday. You guys finally lost your 10th game.
Yeah. Hey, but y'all got a pack of peanuts. Y'all literally got a pack of peanuts.
Yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad. I mean, I appreciate the outpouring from Suns fans. Like, you guys seem to feel bad for us. I know you guys know what it's like to struggle like this, so I guess it's our turn.
Are the Suns going to get Sabonis?
Huh?
Are the Suns going to get Sabonis? That's the latest rumor.
I doubt that. I don't think Pacers are going to give up Sabonis, though.
Yeah, that'd be quite a big trade.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I think Eric Bledsoe was not a good right pickup for you guys. I feel like you could have done the Pelican trade, which Eric talked about, which I was hearing about. I think that was a better trade than getting them.
It was definitely a better trade. I mean, I know you guys don't like Eric Bledsoe either.
No, I have a hate for him. You're going to see some inefficient shooting, no passing, so
yeah,
it's going to be...
That's one of those guys I never wanted to see in a Blazer uniform. That's one of those guys.
Especially at this stage of his career.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Yeah, so we got the Wizards tomorrow. What do you? So I had a quick question. So is how long is Dame's injury going to be? Like, is it for the rest of the season or what?
At this point, I would say it's for the rest of the season because we're trying to tank, and he said he's not going to come back for a tank. So it might be the end of the season regardless of what we do, but considering our direction, I would say yes, the rest of the season.
I think it's time for you guys to clean house, maybe even clean Chauncey Billups. I'm not a big fan of his coaching, but that's just my opinion. I feel like you guys need like
He's
a
done
James
fine
Jones type
lately.
of GM.
He's done fine lately. I mean, that's the problem. You bring in a new coach, and then if you have players that don't buy into what he's trying to do, you're going to have some issues. And that seemingly was Norman Powell and Robert Covington. They were extremely lazy all season long. And it's like when those guys were out, when Norman Powell was out, all of a sudden we start playing better defense with lesser quality players because we just play harder. And it's like Chauncey didn't do as good of a job as he could, and he's learned on the job, and he struggled with multiple things. But I think he's A, learning, B, just needs guys that are willing to buy in, and I don't think Norman Powell or maybe even Robert Covington were those guys. And then C, maybe a better roster overall. And if he gets those three things, I think he can be looked at as a good coach. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, your GM was on crack tonight, though.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely on crack, man. Yeah, anyway. Good luck.
And Chris brings up a great point in chat. So we signed him to a 4-year contract with a team option for the 5th year. And with how cheap our owner is, there's no possible way she's going to want to pay him out for 3 years of his contract without him being the coach. So I think we're stuck with him for at least a couple more years.
The surprising part is Keon Johnson. Like, y'all really wanted him the most, but he hasn't played any games.
He's played a little bit. He's been okay, but I mean, he's a 6'3" guard. We're tired of those. But anyway, man, good to meet you. You got anything else for questions?
How does it feel that you have no All-Star players in the All-Star game?
I don't really care about that right now.
It sucks that Dame wasn't an All-Star this year, but honestly, probably would have been it probably wouldn't have been fair or right for him to make the All-Star game considering the injury and stuff. So I'm fine with it. But yeah, I mean, we didn't deserve an All-Star outside him anyway.
Yeah, I just want to watch that weekend. What'd you say?
Who's your draft prospects? Like, who do you really want?
He wants Jabari Smith. I'm more Jabari, Chet, or Banchero. I'm more even on those guys, I think. And I don't want to speak for you, Eric. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I want Jabari, but Banchero or Chet would be a nice consolation for this team because they're all power forwards that would fit well, even if we kept Nurkic. And I would like any of those three. I think we'd be set up well for the future, but. Unfortunately, we could have gotten there without making a stupid trade, too.
Yeah.
I kind of like Monty Bates. I don't know. For some reason, Monty Bates
this year. He's not in the draft this year. He's in the draft next year. I've seen that misconception. He's just too young. So
yeah, just have some napkins by you whenever you watch Blazers games because we felt this too.
I mean, honestly, I'm rooting for them to lose. I'm happy with the result tonight, so I'm fine with this. So we got a tank at this point. So anyway, man, good to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Have a good rest of your night.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Roy Dwayne Bacon is the bio for Roy. That's funny. We'll talk to 3 more. Maybe we'll get Maromancer on here. Ish is up next. I just added him as a peer. There we go. Ish, what's up, man?
What's up, Ish?
Gotta wait for the classic unmute. It always starts them off.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
What's up, Ish?
Oh, I actually started talking. I was like, "What's going on?" Listen, guys, I've watched earlier stream today. I've watched this entire stream now, and I've got a proper rant to get off my chest here. Honestly,
Let's hear it.
So, being a Blazer fan, all the talk about how the front office can't ever make any moves is all about how we're a small market team, right? I think we've actually been one of the worst managed small market teams in the entire NBA. So you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, for example, right? And no one ever wants to play in Milwaukee. Who would want to go to Milwaukee? And if you're a small market team, we all know that improvement has to come from drafts and trade. But you look at Giannis, he was drafted only 1 year after Dame, and over the years, the Bucks slowly put together a championship caliber roster around him. So sure, we're in a tough position now, and we're all pissed off. But this position the team is in is literally product of years of screwed up moves by the front office. And I always think back to that terrible summer where I think it was like $186 million in contracts to Allen Crabbe, Evan Turner, and Myers Leonard. Now you look at post Olshey, literally the first move we make is trading positive assets below market value. So the small front offices that actually are good find ways around the front office, the small market like limitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
these kind of crappy and uncreative front office moves, I don't even think I'm even mad. This has been coming. I think if you look at this trade, it literally closes any kind of window that you were ever going to have with putting a championship caliber team around Dame.
Well, the only thing I'll say to that is having someone new in charge who said all the right things, kind of similar to Billups earlier in the season. He had an opportunity to undo that. I mean, we're no longer bound by all those contracts in 2016. Those don't affect us at all right now. And this guy had an opportunity to come in, or we had an opportunity to put someone in charge to be creative enough. And unfortunately, the guy turned out to be just like what you mentioned. And yeah, we let the wrong person take charge. I mean, we probably would have been better off naming anyone else in the front office as the GM. And
I mean,
yeah,
Eric, you guys have touched on it. This looks like upper management all the way through. They
yeah.
told Joe Cronin that he needs to get under the tax line by any means necessary.
Yeah, it's just like there's so many ways to do that and productive ways to do that. That's what baffles my
Yes.
mind. That's what it comes back to. So anybody that says like, oh, well, he needed to deduct the tax.
How
Yeah, he
have
could
there
have.
been any Blazers people trying to justify this trade? It literally makes no sense.
It doesn't
Well,
make sense.
and here's why smart GMs use trade exceptions. Because not only would that get us out of the tax now, but that gives us ammunition and pieces that we could use for a full year from now, meaning all summer long and at the trade deadline next year, to add that salary back while accomplishing the goal of getting under the tax now. And that's why trade exceptions are important. So even if we didn't use the trade exception, at least it accomplished the goal, and we probably got like a first round pick or something out of it as well. So that would have been a much better solution, because then instead of having to find a team that's stupid enough to take Eric Bledsoe from us now, we could have had a similar size trade exception to where we could have attached that first round pick and not have to give back salary. And that's how you get trades done in the NBA now. That's how you be creative and stuff like that. And it was right there for Cronin to do, and he screwed it up. And now we're stuck with Eric Bledsoe and Justice Winslow and no flexibility.
Eric, I saw a report, something about how Dame and Chauncey signed off on this. How do you even sell this? Even Chauncey had an interview talking about championship, building a championship contending roster. What is that?
Let me put it this way. Everything you've heard from anyone other than Cronin, or if we ever hear from Jody Allen, which is not going to happen, anything other than Cronin are people towing the company line because they are not the type of person to throw their general manager under the bus in the public. So I can almost promise you those people are just saying that to make sure they don't hinder a relationship that might cost them their job or whatever, or would look bad in the public. So those people, I was initially pissed when I heard those comments from Chauncey. I was like, man, this guy is a fraud, whatever. But I was told specifically to not read too much into anything that anyone other than Joe Cronin says publicly, because it's basically just to make sure they don't ruffle any feathers. So
What do you think about the idea that the front office is trying to slowly push Dame away without him having to come out and say that he wants out?
I think you can't rule that out. I wouldn't necessarily believe that, but I don't think you can completely
Because
rule it out right
they
now.
don't want to seem like Dame is the one that's pushing for the move, because
Yeah.
Dame's
Eric,
all
what do
about
you-
loyalty. He's our guy.
What do you think, Eric?
Well, everything I've heard is that Cronin would not entertain the idea of trading Dame and that he could be here as long as he wants to be here. However, I mean, I can't say that I haven't seen Joe Cronin lie because I just witnessed it today. So who knows if anything he said is the truth anymore. I could see them still. I mean, there's still the possibility that they think Dame, CJ, and Nurk, they're dumb enough to think that trio, any other additional help could get something done. Now, Eric Bledsoe, add him to the mix, and Justice Winslow's that 3-and-D playmaker that we've always been needing at 17% from 3, right? So yeah, that's those guys are going to fit in perfectly.
Yeah,
with that.
we're gonna pay and the max to come off the bench. That sounds
Yep.
like a great idea.
Yep. So I wouldn't rule out that possibility either. But yeah, I don't understand the long-term goal by pushing Dame out. Like I said, you pay him the $50 million. There's a salary floor that you have to meet, that you have to pay to your players anyway. And like Dame said, he's going to be here through thick and thin, through the ups and downs from now on. So you still risk him not even wanting out, even though we are trying to push him out. I just think it's so stupid to play games like that. If you
Eric,
wanted,
the Blazers have been like the most
I know.
undecisive like franchise in the NBA for years.
Yep, I know. I'm 42 years old, and I know that very well.
You know, the Blazers never make decisions. Every time there's a big decision to make, they never make it. I just don't understand why they wouldn't just say, hey, we appreciate you wanting to stay here, Dame. We love you. Thank you for everything you've done. If you want to stay, fine. But we just want to tear this whole thing down and rebuild, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I mean, then fans would be like, okay, yeah, like, I hate the idea of trading Dame, but at least they have direction, and at least they're being cool to him and stuff like that. If they're doing all this petty crap to piss him off with the purpose of they don't want to look bad, they want Dame to look bad for requesting a trade eventually, like, that is just the biggest BS crap, and they don't deserve to be in charge of a franchise or own a franchise. Get the hell out of this city and don't ever come back, because that's just disgusting that anyone would treat Damian Lillard after everything he's done for this franchise. He deserves more than that. He deserves to have that extension if he wants it. He deserves to be here and given a chance to win a championship here. And if these freaking dumbasses, Jody Allen and Joe Cronin, prevent him from even having a legit chance of accomplishing that, they are absolute jokes and don't deserve anywhere near an NBA franchise. Eric, when's the last time there's been a trade this lopsided in the NBA? 2 starters for literally peanuts. When's that happened?
I mean, there's been all kinds of lopsided, dumb trades, but I just don't understand. Usually it's teams that like are trying to do something specific. You kind of understand it, but like this makes I just don't understand how.
I think where Cronin lost me the most was talk about free agency, as if we can get anyone.
Yeah. Even if we created a max cap space thing, like we're going to get someone to come in, and on top of that, we're not even under the cap. We still have, we're still over the cap, and we still have Ant, Dame, and CJ making pretty much over $100 million if we sign Ant to a reasonable contract, and that's only 3 guards.
Anyway. Thanks for calling in, Ish. We got to move on to a couple other callers.
Later, Ish. Have a good one.
Thanks for the time, guys.
Yeah, man. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
Next up was Shervin. Shervin was next up, so this should be good. So Shervin, we got rid of the 3 guards. What are your thoughts on this trade?
Guys, get Joe Cronin the hell out of the city. This fraud, trash-ass GM. Get him out of the city. Jody needs to sell the team. She needs to get out of the city. Get clean house. Get these garbage, inept, incompetent figures out of this organization. And I don't want to hear anyone say they should rebuild because who trusts these idiots to initiate a rebuild? I'd rather have Dame and lose in the first round every year than have these morons rebuild.
And you hate losing in the first round, man.
I hate losing in the first round. I don't want to rebuild with these idiots.
That's a great point. Say we trade Dame and go full rebuild. Do we really want this moron in charge of that?
Hell no.
Yeah, exactly. We'll end up with the freaking number 1 pick and we'll trade it for like freaking Jeremy Grant or something.
We'll get the number 1 pick and we'll draft freaking Benedict number 1, because it gives us roster flexibility. Garbage, man.
Imagine him drafting Benedict number 1 and saying it gives us frost.
This is the worst trade I've ever seen in my life. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't think. I'm not even kidding. I don't think I've seen a worse trade in my 17 years of living.
See,
this is the most garbage thing I've ever seen.
This is what we tried to explain to people. Shervin is like, hold on.
No matter what.
Yeah, here's what we try to explain to people. Like, I know people were frustrated with the inactivity, and so was I, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be worse. And this is worse. This is worse than inactivity. Like, this is worse than making a run for the 8th seed and then getting a first-round playoff series where maybe you steal a game 1 from the 1 seed, right? That's more enjoyable than, like, oh my god, our franchise is doomed. Because that's the feeling right now. Our franchise is doomed. With who we have at the helm, with who we have as the owner, with this trade, like, it's real bad.
He attained negative value for good players.
Yeah.
I could have... Oh my god. I don't know. I don't have anything. I woke up because I'm sick. I woke up. I checked my phone. I thought it was Ballsack Sports. I'm like, there's no way this is real. I'm like, bro, what is this?
I wish it was Ballsack Sports, man. I wish it was Ballsack.
I don't know what to say. This is crazy. This guy better trade Eric Bledsoe for something crazy.
So would you do CJ for Shetty Osman and Ricky Rubio straight up after this, Shervin?
No, I'd rather kick this guy out of the city or ban this guy.
Unfortunately, I feel like he may have just won himself the job with this trade.
He did, because Jody, they're going to run back this Dame CJ Nurk core because, we've won a lot of games with this core. And then it'll sell them tickets. They'll win 44 games. They'll lose in the first round. And then Jody can sell the team in 4 years. Oh, my God. Jody Allen is a disgrace to Paul Allen's legacy. He handed her his most beloved possession. He handed her 2 franchises, and she's ruining both of them. Is it a coincidence that both franchises are in a worse state since she took over? They're both going to miss the playoffs in the same year.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, you're right. It's not good. I mean, we've said it all. We've said everything that we can about it, man. I mean, now it's just kind of letting you guys vent. And I always like having something to say when, in these conversations, but I don't even know what else to say. You know what I mean?
Paul Allen would never let this happen.
I agree. Paul Allen would be ashamed of this. Paul Allen would be screaming at his sister to sell the team. Like, there's no way.
Technically, Paul Allen was responsible for a lot of bad trades too, so I don't know if I can necessarily say that, but...
I mean, I'm saying if it's a favor to Ballmer, Paul Allen wouldn't have done that, in my opinion. He was too competitive for that.
Paul Allen fired the Seahawks coach after like 1 year. He fired this dude and hired Pete Carroll. Jody's gonna hire this fraud ass GM because he got him under the tax. Nah, bro. Jody is the worst owner in the NBA.
Yep. I mean, if she really did Ballmer a favor, that is absolutely true. I agree, Shervin. Is there anything else you want to say or ask?
Man, I don't know.
Because we do have a couple
What
other
does
people
it take for this idiot to redeem himself in the next 6 days.
CJ McCollum for LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and like 5 first-round picks, and Cronin convinces the NBA to like disregard the salary trade rules for him.
Bro,
as well
he
as the
needs to
luxury
go.
tax.
He needs to go tamper with the physical. He needs to go. Shit, he gotta go mess with Eric Bledsoe's physical and make him fail.
I still think failed physical doesn't impede this trade. They'll still be like, oh, you know what? We're fine with it if he's hurt.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
screwed.
how bad this was. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah. For me, it would take finding a GM dumber than him to recoup value from these players we just got somehow. So like trading Eric Bledsoe for a second-round pick and an expiring contract, and trading Justice Winslow for like an Aaron Nesmith or a Trey Murphy on a rookie deal or something, or trading Keon Johnson because he was the 21st pick for Herb Jones as the 35th pick or whatever he was, and like it would take all 4 of those things coming together to even recoup value for this trade. So, which isn't going to happen, obviously, and if it was part of his plan, there would have been that third team roped into it, because that opens up once again a lot more flexibility, and you could have created maybe a bigger trade exception or whatever. So it absolutely wasn't the plan, and we're screwed.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, if Neil Olshey did this, there would be riots
Oh, man,
in the streets of Portland.
Dude,
I don't like Neil Olshey.
There would have been the biggest protest ever at the game tonight.
I talk trash about that dude all the time, but if he did this, there would be death threats. Like it would be bad. But then you got these people saying, "Oh, he's just trying to undo his mistakes." So yeah, he's gonna trade our third best player for Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah. Hopefully you feel better, Shervin. And as far as the sickness, as well as this trade, hopefully this helped.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, man, I appreciate you calling
Have a good
in
one,
and
Shervin.
entertaining
Have a
us
good
as
one.
normal.
Hopefully Joe Cronin gets fired soon.
I mean, I'm right there with you at this point. Thanks, Shervin.
Good night.
You too. So we'll take 2 more callers. People that have been 3 more callers. People that have been waiting this whole time.
We might cut them short.
Yeah, we're gonna try and speed things up a little bit, and then we'll wrap things up. There's gonna be a few callers we can't get to. We just don't have the time for that. Unfortunately, we apologize. We got Aeromancer up next. He's been waiting for a while. What's going on, Aeromancer?
Hello.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey.
Hey, I was honestly not even expecting you to call me first. But I'm here.
We didn't call you first. You've been waiting here, right?
Yeah, I've been waiting a little bit, but
you were next up.
It's all right.
I was gonna say, if I made a mistake, I can kick you out.
No, I get questions. I got my questions.
Cool. Let's
obviously,
hear.
I'm fucking better. I am pissed off with my language there. Man, this is so disappointing. But I want to throw out a couple conspiracy theories about what happened here.
Okay.
So, the first one is, a while back there was a report about people who weren't bought into Chauncey's system, and people who were, or specifically one person who was still giving pushback to Chauncey. And potentially it was 2 people, and potentially those were Norm and Rocco. Obviously, that doesn't mean that they should have traded them specifically to the Clippers for this package, but my conspiracy theory is, what if the Clippers knew about this pushback and were like, hey, we'll take these guys off of your hands?
Well, once again, for each individual player, I've heard there was offers better than they got for both of them from the Clippers. So even if that was the case, it makes no sense. They had offers on the table. In Norm's case, I've heard it was as many as a handful of offers that were better than this for him by himself, not including Roka. So that wouldn't make sense.
Right,
That would take the worst offer.
Yep.
But maybe the Clippers had dirt like shit other teams didn't know. Then they were like, "Hey, we're gonna."
They could have just they could have just accepted those offers and then, yeah, I mean, maybe Ballmer has something on Jody and blackmailed her. That lines up with the Microsoft theory, right? Maybe it wasn't a payoff. Maybe it was a blackmail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, Jody's been into some very despicable things in her past as well. So, yeah. So she's been involved with some sexual harassment stuff as well. So, if yeah, I wouldn't put it past someone that was friends of them to know something that they wouldn't. So yeah, I think that's more plausible than them having some sort of dirt on Rocco or
Yeah,
or
I agree with that. What's your second conspiracy theory?
All right, the second one is, I would say less plausible, but potentially more fun. The second one is, so Norm's contract is a 5-year deal, right? The Moda Center is up for a renegotiation with the team to be the venue of choice for the Portland Trailblazers in 2025, which means that Norm's contract extends beyond that period. My second conspiracy theory is, what if the team is trying to alleviate any long-term contracts so that when 2025 rolls around, Jody can have a clean slate to sell the team to another city?
That just doesn't make any sense either, because they could have gotten no salary back for Norman Powell, and Robert Covington was in his last year. They could have traded Norman Powell to the Pelicans and gotten back no players, as well as a first-round pick and potentially a second-round pick, because that $17 million trade player exception the Pelicans had, so that would accomplish the same thing and be a better trade.
And also, we just signed him to a 5-year deal this offseason.
Yeah.
It's not like he came with a 5-year deal. We were trying to get rid of him, or somehow we made it several years ago and now it's a bad contract or something. It just happened. So why would we all of a sudden be thinking about that now versus a few months ago?
Yep.
Yeah, that is very good reasoning, and conspiracy theories are often not based fully in logic. So I appreciate you debunking them.
Okay,
I'm not salty or anything. I'm not a QAnon supporter, but whatever.
Yeah.
I am definitely disappointed, though. Would have liked to see more, and I hope that we can see a good CJ trade in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fingers crossed. Hopefully that he can redeem himself. I'm all for that. Anyway, any final words, Aeromancer?
Play Watford more.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Thank you for calling in, man. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night, bro.
Yeah. I just having some fun. But later.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. Yeah, sorry if we're not as jovial in calls, where I'm still very frustrated with everything right now. So next up, we got two more callers we'll go to. We'll go to Unpopular Opinion last, I think. We'll go to Randy, and then we'll go to Unpopular Opinion, and then we'll wrap up the Twitter space. I don't know who was first. It was those two were the two next up. What's going on, Randy? You're now live on the Postgame show, man. If you're here. I just added you as a speaker. I don't know if your thing glitched out, but... Yeah, I don't... Is he here? Is he a caller right now?
I don't see him now.
Huh. I don't know what happened on your end, Randy. If you want to try again, request to speak again, we can try it again. Joe Cronin requested. We're not doing that one.
Who do you think that is? Dame Scout?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's somebody. All right, Randy win. We'll add as a speaker again. All right, I think it worked this time. You there, Randy?
Yeah, that's so weird. Every time, I'm delayed a little bit. It doesn't. It lags out for some reason. But just wanted to say, thank you guys for your rant. I think a lot of Blazers Uprise fans really appreciate it and loved how you guys cuss and everything and all that. So just want to let you know.
I accidentally cussed once this stream, and I let a few more K words last stream.
I think you cussed twice.
Oh, yeah, it's you too.
Eric cussed a lot too, and I was like,
did he?
Yeah, we love it.
You just tattled on him.
Yeah.
I'm just
But
kidding.
yeah. I honestly think that the conspiracy theories are like true too, because it makes sense. Because like it makes sense because the trade doesn't make sense. But
The one about like Jody doing a favor for Steve Ballmer.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But let's not talk about trade. I have a question just to switch up the subject.
Yeah.
I want to know you guys' current rankings for the prospects from like 1st to 10 for each of you guys for the Blazers.
Prospects 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Jabari / Chet is my 1 and 2 right now. For the Blazers, and then Banchero's 3. I'd probably put AJ Griffin 4. Then you can go guard route. Like, I like Jaden Ivey more. I just think AJ Griffin makes more sense positionally. So then Jaden Ivey 5th, probably Johnny Davis 6th. 7th, I'd probably go maybe Matherin. 8th, I would go. Let me look at a board here. Maybe that Shaden Sharp guy if he enters, just because he's young with potential 6'5". I don't know what his wingspan and reach is. 9, maybe. 9, maybe Duren at that point. And then 10, like Tari Eason, maybe. I need to do more research on the draft, but that would be like my very kind of uneducated at this point top 10. I'm educated on the top 3, and then I'm educated on like the top 6 in that list, but then outside of that, I still need to do some research. Eric, what about you?
My for the Blazers would be very similar. I might nitpick a couple there, so very close to the same top 10. I'd probably put Eason a little higher just because he's a really good defender and very athletic and stuff. But yeah, I like AJ Griffin. I like Matherin. Yeah, I like those guys. If we're not talking about the Blazers, I made Tori very angry last night when I announced this to him, but I actually have Johnny Davis number 2 right now on my draft board, so I'm very high on him. He just wouldn't make a lot of sense for the Blazers unless we needed a guard at some point.
I had a question about Benedict Matherin. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So my friend's pretty high on him, and I'm not that great of like, I'm not really into college ball. So is he like pretty good, or like what do you guys think of him?
Yeah, he's like a shooting guard, small forward type. He's pretty athletic, can score, improved a lot this year. So yeah, he's just kind of. I mean, he's a little smaller than I would want to be, unless his measurements. Maybe he's got a long wingspan or something. So I'd be excited to see a lot of these guys could change a little bit based on those measurements if they measure like with a small standing reach or a large one. But I think he's a solid player, good on both ends, and I just worry he's a little too small for what we need. Would be the only reason why I'd put him below some of the other guys.
Cool. That's all I got.
Thanks for a draft question. Yeah, thanks for a draft question. Appreciate it, Randy. You too.
Have a good one.
We are going to go to Unpopular Opinion Podcast as our last caller. That's all we have time for. We've been streaming for almost like 6 hours today, so kind of worn out at this point. Unpopular Opinion, I don't know if it glitched out for you too. I just added you as a speaker. And it says you're not a speaker. So you can try again, otherwise we'll just end the stream. It's being glitchy now, so. And yeah. Still don't see him. I don't know. It's still glitching out. Still waiting on him to try to request to speak again, but we don't have it, so.
All right. Well, we have a show tomorrow night.
Yeah, we have a show tomorrow night. Unpopular opinion. If you want to call in there, we're going to end the Twitter space. Looks like it glitched out, unfortunately. Yeah, you can call in tomorrow night. We have another post-game show, so we'll go to you if you call in right away. But it's first come, first serve as far as calling into the post-game show. Anyway, you want to hop around the NBA real quick? I don't feel like talking too much about it, but it's always good to look at the scores.
I mean, yeah, sure. Let's go quick though.
I mean, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Let's go around the NBA. There's my Twitter. That shouldn't be up there. Let's go to. Let me put this in, and then we'll look at the scores. Anyway. Around the NBA. There we go. Boom. All right. So we had like 8 games today, I think. 9 games. I don't know. February 4th, worst day ever. Krish lost the player he stands for. Poor Krish. The Cavs beat the Hornets 102-101. Bulls beat the Pacers. I would assume we had a clutch dagger of a dunk to cap this game off. That's a second-round rookie that's playing pretty good right now, Eric, that I would probably take over Keon Johnson. Celtics beat the Pistons.
He was picked in the second round. He only has second-round value, though.
Yeah, it's only a second round. Celtics beat the Pistons 102-93. The Hawks lose to the Raptors 114-125. The Spurs, Zach Collins returned and had, I think, 10 points in that game. Good for him. 131-106 Spurs beat the Rockets. The Jazz take care of the Nets, who are in free-fall mode, 125-102. The Pelicans beat the Pacers 113-105.
I have a question. Why is February 4th of last year the worst day ever? Wouldn't it be this year that would be the worst day ever?
Chris is disassociating from reality, and I don't blame him. Yeah. The Pelicans beat the Nuggets. The Mavericks beat the 76ers 107-98, and then the Blazers tank their ass off tonight, losing 96-93 against the OKC Thunder. Let's look at the Western Conference standings. Eric, we are closing in on the bottom.
Sweet.
Good for us.
Still in the play-in.
Yeah, somehow. Still in the play-in game. 21-32.
Eric Bledsoe is going to lead us to a play-in game, and then we're going to get throttled.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Norm Powell is the Clippers.
We did Tankathon Sims earlier in the stream, so we're not going to do another one. Eastern Conference standings. Brooklyn is now only a half game ahead of Toronto, so Brooklyn might fall into play-in territory. That's interesting. Charlotte's in 9th. They're only 5.5 games back of first, so very jam-packed there in the Eastern Conference. Let's look at the next 5 games. These are the 5 games leading up to the All-Star. I think we have one game after that Milwaukee game leading to the All-Star break, but we have Milwaukee twice in the next 5 games. Those should be losses. Lakers game should probably be a loss. Orlando game is going to be a toss-up, and yeah, I think it's 1-4 over the next 5 games. That would be my best bet.
Yep.
Anyway, that's around the NBA. Anything else you want to say for the stream, Eric?
Well, unpopular opinion, a podcast said his question in chat, so I'll just answer it really quick because it won't take very long. Is the poor shooting lately affected by the trades and the injuries, or is it possibly a coaching thing? I would say it's just a product of not having the best players in roster right now. And, our best players are hurt. We've had several rotational players out. That's affecting things. And then, when you make trades like this, or when there's trade rumors hovering over the team that we're going to sell off multiple pieces, that can't be a positive thing in terms of players' confidence and things like that. So, it's going to be rough from here on out. I wouldn't buy into it, whether it's good or bad the rest of the season. There's going to be good moments. There's going to be bad moments, a lot of bad moments probably. And it's just something that we're going to have to live with. And there's not really going to be any way out of that Chauncey can fix or anything. So I wouldn't blame him necessarily.
Yep, agreed with that. Anyway, we have another stream tomorrow. I'm going to try and keep that shorter. I'm kind of burnt out on streaming right now. I'm burnt out on this team. I'm burnt out on everything. So hopefully you can make it tomorrow, and we'll discuss the Blazers against the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll see how much we lose by. That'll be fun. Anyway, thank you for tuning in today on an eventful Friday. Hopefully the future gets better for this team. We shall see. But we'll keep you guys posted with any streams we go live if we make another move. And you know, this is your number one stop for any trade deadline coverage. We'll break it to you how it is, good or bad. You guys should know that by now. Anyway, that wraps up this stream. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.